welcome to Truth in Life Tarot. In this video, we are going to be exploring the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. So we're going to explore the box in the deck and look at all the cards, and then at the end, we will do a deck interview. And the questions we're going to ask is to get an introduction card to see what this deck is all about. We're going to ask about the strengths and weaknesses, what you can learn from this deck, what is the best way to connect with this deck, and the potential outcome that will come from working with this deck. So first, let me open the box. Well, let me show you the box before I open it. So it's not a super big box, it's actually kind of standard size. So when you open it up, you have the guidebook here, and this deck is made by John Holland. Okay. And then you have the tarot cards themselves. Let me put this away. So, actually, before I get into the cards, let's explore the guidebook really quickly. So each card, it has 1 or 2 pages explaining what it is. It actually does not have a reverse meaning attached with the cards, but it does say what each card is in the typical tarot deck. Like, for example, the wisdom card is the 5th major arcana card, and the archetype that it is connecting to is the Hierophant. And for the minor arcana, yep, about a page for each card, and each card has the words on it. It has it at the top and at the bottom. Now, the interesting thing about this deck is that the suits are represented by colors. So let me get you. Let me go to that exact page. Okay, so we have the red one, which is the Pentacles, physical, surrounded by a red border representing business, finances, money, prosperity, earthly possessions, material gain or loss, and security. Then you have the green, which is emotions, which is water, representing relationships of the heart, feelings, desires, emotions, love, and joy. You have the indigo border, which is mental, representing the sword, respectively, representing communication, thoughts, ideas, intellect, and the workings of the mind, as well as obstacles, difficulties, decision, and power. And then you have spirit, which is the wands with the violet border, representing the spark of life, inspiration, spiritual force and principles, aspirations, willpower, and passion. All right, so let's get into it. Let's look at these cards. Okay, so as with the other deck reviews and interviews, I have been working with these cards for a while, so they're not new. And I'm not going to show you these cards in any particular order. It just happens to be the order that I shuffled them in. I shuffled them before I started this, just to um, make it more random, I guess. So that is the Four of Pentacles. It actually, not the Four of Pentacles, sorry, this is the Four of Wands. It actually kind of looks like the Ten of Cups, actually. This is the Balance card, Justice. The Two of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, Truth, Judgment. So I just want you guys to see, this is the Three of Swords, Heartache and Loss. What these cards look like: Triumph, the Chariot, Authority, the Emperor. This is Four of Pentacles, Firm Foundation, the Universe, the World card, which is also the card at the front of the guidebook, as well as the box. Harmony, the Lovers. We got Power, Strength, the Half Man, Half Lion. Oh, the other thing about this deck is that this deck does not actually have any court cards. Instead, we have chakra cards. So we have 7 chakra cards that replace the 16 court cards that we would normally get in a tarot deck. And I noticed that in some readings here on YouTube, some people actually consider this deck a oracle deck, and some people treat it as a tarot, and some people kind of interchange between which one they want to use it as. I mostly use this deck as a tarot deck. But of course, you can use it however way you want. It does say the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, so I think it can be used as either or. And I believe John Holland even goes into using it both ways in this guidebook as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. You have the Moon card, Shadow, Intuition, which is the High Priestess. And here is our first chakra card. This is the Crown Chakra, which is this brilliant purple, has some pink in it also. I really love this color. Let's see. That was the Nine of Cups, fulfillment of wishes. Third eye chakra. So the thing about this deck, which I really like because it adds to the meaning of each card, is sometimes you'll have a drawing on a card that looks like another card. Like for example, this looks more like the Three of Cups than it does the Three of Wands. But this is actually the, let me show you. Okay, so these two cards have the same color border. It's kind of hard to see. Let me compare it to, okay, so that's probably more, you can see the difference here. So this is a sword card. This is the Four of Swords, and this is the Ace of Wands and the Three of Wands. So this Three of Wands looks like the Three of Cups to me because it's about partnerships and alliances, and you actually see people holding hands. And in the Three of Cups cards, usually there's like 3 people. Sometimes they're kind of holding hands, but it's some sort of celebration card with people who with good company, I should say. So thing about this deck is that sometimes the cards aren't typical of your tarot cards. Like it'll look like another card in the deck, and you actually have to remember, like, oh, this border means that it's actually wands, or oh wait, no, this card is just switched in this deck. Um, for example, this is an example of something that actually looks the way it is, like the Seven of Swords. This looks like the Seven of Swords. This guy is wearing a mask, and it says deception and envy on it. So this card actually looks like how you think it would. But then you have the Seven of Pentacles here. It says patience and planning, but it actually visually kind of looks like the Two of Wands to me, because the Two of Wands card shows like a guy between two um I don't remember if it's 2 pillars or 2 wands, but and he's like looking out from a ledge, and this is a ledge here with the 2 pillars, and you can't, it's kind of hard to see what's beyond it. It looks like it might be a path or like sun shining on a path, but to me visually it looks like the 2 of wands. So that's another kind of aspect about this deck, is that even though the cards um have, the same meaning as the regular tarot cards, they may look like another card in the deck. This is the Tower, Disruption, the Wheel of Fortune, Destiny, Hope, the Sun. No, this is the Star. Fertility, Empress. See, this is the Eight of Pentacles. It looks like the Six of Swords a little bit, doesn't it? Because that's what I'm saying. So in this, I'm not knocking that aspect at all. I actually really like that about this deck, but it is something to be aware of for people who may get a little bit confused by that. I mean, the colors can already, I can imagine that throwing some people off, but to add that to it, that might be a little much for people. And then when you consider that this is a tarot slash oracle deck that does not have each typical card in the tarot deck, that might also be something that someone might want to be aware of before buying this deck. See, this is the Sun card. Let me see what that other one. They both kind of look like the Sun card, don't they? This one looks like the sun is in the palm of their hand, and this one looks like um, sun shining down on them. This is the base chakra card. See, it has that beautiful red for the base chakra. Solitude, the Hermit card. Heart chakra, throat chakra, sacral chakra. Wisdom, the Hierophants. 13, the Death card, Transformation. 1, Awareness, the Magician. Spiritual Union, the Two of Cups. I love this card. It's just such a simple card. It's like two people. Like, there's not even a heart in this card. It looks like their minds are coming together. Like, I just love that representation of union. You have New Beginnings, the Fool. The Hanged Man, Sacrifice. Temptation, the Devil card. Patience, Temperance, Solar Plexus Chakra. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how this deck shuffles. So, actually, I'll do it this way first. So this is how the deck shuffles vertically. It's a bit easier for me to shuffle because I guess because of the size of my hands, I think I'm much better suited to shuffle vertically when it comes to the decks that aren't so slim. So this is how it shuffles vertically. So it's easier for me than in my other deck reviews when I was shuffling the more rectangle-like decks. Like, for example, the Light Seers Tarot. And I'll do a comparison in a bit. Now, if I were to do a horizontal shuffle, there you go. These cards are pretty, I think at first they may be a bit weird to break in, but they're ultimately not very, it's not a difficult deck to shuffle. It's just weird at first. I remember like breaking these cards in because this was like a weird deck for me at first, like just because of how it shuffles. But once you break it in, you can just shuffle it like any other deck. And you can do it in bigger chunks if you want to. Like, I know some people do it like 4 times. So however you want to shuffle this deck, like you don't have to, you can be picky, you can do it however you want to. I know some people shuffle like this, like they do it 4 times. So if you want to do it like this or pull it one by one, it's still rather doable. So I have no complaints about shuffling this deck. For comparison, so I've already done a review on this deck. This is the Light Seers Tarot deck. If you want to check that out. But for comparison, See, this deck is a little bit more narrow than this one. This is a bit wider. And let's see if I can do it. This is always a bit tricky for me. Okay, so comparison shuffle. Yeah, you get bigger chunks with a narrow deck, at least for me. Yeah, I'm about to lose all my cards here on the floor. And for comparison, for the horizontal shuffle, that's pretty much the same. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the deck interview where we're gonna figure out how this deck kind of responds to like pretty much what it's best used for. So this is for you guys, the viewers, to decide further whether or not this deck is going to be for you. All right, so the first question that we're gonna ask this deck is just for an introductory card. What card best represents this deck? What is a good introduction card for this deck? All right, we got two. We got intuition as well as the universe. Wow, strong first introduction cards. All right, the next question we're going to ask is what is the strength of this deck? And we have eights of swords trapped in fear as well as the two of wands, the waiting game. Okay, the next question is what are the weaknesses of this deck? Oh, that one almost didn't want to come out. Next question is what can we learn from this deck? All right, we got the Empress. Next question is what is the best way to connect with this deck? Wow, that card flew. Seven of Wands, stand your ground. And the last question we're going to ask is what is the potential outcome of working with this deck? All right. Okay. So to start off, we have for the introduction cards, we have Intuition, which is the High Priestess, as well as the Universe, which is the World card. So, as you might have guessed from the name of the deck, the Psychic Tarot, I feel like this is a good deck to really dig deep into your intuition, to really expand upon your own psychic ability. I kind of get the feeling that it's good for reaching just a little bit beyond. So even for those of us who have been either doing tarot for a while or have just been, are just used to listening to our intuition and having our third eye and crown chakra opened, for us Two, it's just going just a little bit deeper, just a little bit further, because I, f- I feel like no one's intuition is perfect 100% of the time. Or it's not that it's not perfect, it's that we don't listen to it the way we should 100% of the time. And this deck will help us go just a little bit further. For those of us who aren't so used to doing that or are just getting started, I feel like this is a good deck to kind of dig deep into your own abilities um, to make you see the things in the cards which you already know. So like you might have a question and you'll draw a card and you'll just be like, huh, that's kind of what I was thinking, like when you see the card. For the next question, we have the strengths. So we have the waiting game, Two of Wands, and the Eight of Swords, trapped in fear. So I feel like this is the strengths of this deck is to help people to get out of their own mind, to help them see that, like, okay, it doesn't matter whether it's good news or bad news. This is how you get out of this. And I actually think that's true because there have been times when I have used this deck when I've been like kind of trapped in my own head. And this deck just kind of has a way of like snapping you out of it. Just not in a way that's like jolting or anything, but it's just like that, like that, oh, realization. Like it's it's like just the right amount of push and realization that gets you to be in a place of calmness, in my opinion. Yeah, we also have the waiting game. So with that card, the Two of Wands, I feel like this is the kind of deck that will be the strengths of this deck. It's really useful for people who may not necessarily be patient and they like kind of always want answers. So I think with that card in the strength position, it's saying that even if you're impatient, this card can like let you know what you need to do kind of in the meantime. It's like what you need to focus on. So it's like good at pulling you back from that energy and kind of keeping you in that patience waiting game energy. Yeah. So that's what I'm getting for the strengths of this deck. For the weaknesses of this deck, we actually got the Tower Disruption. So I don't think this would be the kind of deck that people will go to when they are like in the thick of like a bad situation. Um, if you're having some sort of tower moment, then this deck might not be, and I feel like this isn't like the end all be all of this answer, like of this card in this position, but I feel like it's for some people, it could just make it worse because, um, like you may not be in the mental space to actually process, um, the cards and the information that you see in this deck. So, possibly not a shadow work, type of deck. Mm-mm. No. Um, Actually, this is kind of similar to the Healing Light Tarot in that it's not that this deck can't be used for shadow work or that it's not a good idea for it to be used in shadow work. It's just that the weaknesses just happen to be that it should not be like that first deck that you reach for when you're in the thick of something. It should be like that second step type of deck, meaning like the first step is like kind of accepting any any negative situation that you're going through, and then like the second step will be like, okay, what do I do now? It's like a kind of like after you kind of cleaned away the mess, you're like trying to get your mind right. Actually, no, I would say it's actually the third step. So the third step is uh it's like after you've already started to pick up the pieces of a negative experience, like you need to kind of revisit the situation. How do you say that? It's like when you revisit the situation just to figure out, like, okay, where am I now? That's what it is. That's what I was trying to say. And then we have what can you learn from this deck? And we have fertility, which is the Empress card. So what you can learn from this deck, I feel like, is how to bring forth your own intuition. And intuition is more of it's kind of like the feminine aspect, um, which is why it's represented by the Empress card. So I feel like if you like what this card is saying in this position is like if you need to not shadow work, but it's like kind of just like a realization. Like if you need like that psychic work, like, okay, is this happening? Like you kind of already know, and you're just like, is this what I'm going through? Is this what I need to do? Is this what I need to realize or whatever? And then that's what this deck is for. Like that's what you can learn from this deck is how to bring it out of yourself through your own intuition and through your own inner knowing. The next question we asked was, what is the best way to connect with this deck? And we got the Seven of Wands, which is stand your ground in this deck. So, again, I feel like the best way to connect is when you need to draw on your own power. Um, See, like this guy looks like he's on like a mountaintop or something, like right at lunar, a solar eclipse. hmm So this like the best way to connect with this deck is when you kind of need to get in your own power. It's kind of like what this card was saying and what the introduction cards were saying. Um to really bring yourself out into the forefront. So, yeah, this is I think this deck is really good for people who may not be um maybe not just starting tarot, because there's like I feel like this deck is just different enough that it might be a bit difficult to learn. Um, However, I think it is good for people who just need that extra boost, that extra, not kick in the pants per se, but just an extra boost of confidence within themselves. That's the best way to connect with this deck, is kind of to prove to you that your intuition is right. And a lot of people may need that extra bit of confidence because a lot of us don't listen to our intuition, or like we may listen to it slightly to be like, oh, it can't be that bad, or like it's not like that, or this will change. Like there's a lot of ways around their people's own mind. So what this deck is for, or the best way to connect with this deck rather, is when you need a boost in your own power, in your own faith, in your own intuition. So lastly, we have the potential outcome of this deck, and we got the sacral chakra. So it's interesting. This is the only chakra card that came out, um, and it's in the potential outcome position. So okay, so the sacral chakra. Actually, I'm gonna get the book on this one. So the sacral chakra is like the kind of what is it? The root chakra, I believe, is I am. I think that's the mantra in this deck, and then um, for the sacral chakra, I believe it's I want, and then I believe it's the solar plexus chakra. That's I have. I'm about to find out. Um, well, before I get into that, um, the potential outcome with this deck is more of a like it's a good deck for foundations, like to figure out kind of who you are, what your passions are, and what you want. I think it's about bringing forth the best you. Let me see what the okay, sacral chakra. Okay, so it is I want. And let me just see. Oh, the third one, the solar plexus chakra, was I can. Okay. So we have key facts, color orange, sound bomb, element water, glands, testicles, ovaries, keywords I want. Known as the sacral chakra, the second chakra is located 2 fingers below your navel and relates to emotions, desires, creativity, and sexuality. To keep this chakra balanced and its energy flowing, try dancing, moving your hips and lower abdomen, use a color meditation, and practice yoga. Embrace your sexuality and nurture yourself. And remember, you do matter. Okay, so that's like, yeah, like your intuition, your feelings, they do matter. Like they're not to be um, kind of s- um, swept away. Like don't allow yourself to be gaslighted. I feel like that is like that kind of energy is what the potential outcome is of this deck. It's like to show you the inner you. It's like what do you want? Like what is there underneath the surface that just needs to be brought out that you already knew but maybe you kept under wraps. So wow. Okay, that was my review and deck interview of the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Bye.